And we are live, I think. Are we live? I think we're live. Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and you're here at episode 10 of Real Estate Talk, TGIF. And that's for Thank God It's Finale. I know it's Friday, but you know what? That's my name, so that's what we're going with. Today, we're so honored to have a great friend, a great mentor of sorts to me, a guy I've learned an awful lot from, and we've shared an awful lot of information. We've worked together. John Reyes with Social NetworX out in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Is that right, John?
That's right. Sounds a little crazy, but that's the name. That's the name of the city.
That is. And John's been, I've met John through my days in Century 21. And now is what I try to do is bring as much value to people as possible through Real Estate Skill Builder, which is my new company. And John's here to talk about real estate technology and what's going on in different things. So, John, talk to me. What's going on with recent changes in the market and how technology can help us with that?
Well, Dave, I think the biggest thing that I'd like to just share with anybody that's watching this video is that the majority of the information that I tend to share at different events across the country, there's not too many people that are privy with the information. And I think a big reason is because there's not too many people that follow it. I think one of the biggest problems, challenges in our industry today is that so many real estate agents, so many brokers are so focused on whether or not Zillow is going to be competing with them that they've actually turned the blinders on to everything else taking place in our market. So let me just kind of give you a breakdown. Within about the last 30 months or so, there's actually been over $1 billion invested into real estate technology startups, which are now targeting buyers and sellers. These startup companies are targeting the very clients, the very lifeblood of the real estate industry. But the problem is, again, most real estate agents aren't even aware. They don't even know that this is the case. So when I'm talking about $1 billion, one of the largest investment organizations is Google Ventures, with their huge investment into Opendoor, which they're the ones that took the number from about 700 million to over $1 billion, because the latest investment round into Opendoor, it was over $300 million. So with all this money being pumped into the industry right now, you got these companies that are now targeting buyers and sellers, while the real estate industry has pretty much stayed stagnant overall. And I love our industry. It's helped me earn a great living, but I have a problem with our industry just being okay with being okay. There's way too many
Right.
brokers, in my opinion. There's way too many real estate agents that have pushed aside the importance of marketing, video, social media, basically all the things that they can use in order to bring more value to their clients, just because the two biggest reasons is I don't know how and I don't have the time to figure it out. Unfortunately, other people have now put the time and the efforts into figuring these things out, and we're already starting to see the effects, not just in the Southern California market, but across markets, markets across the country. And I say this because I'm connected with brokers and top real estate agents, middle of the road agents, not in just major metro markets across the country, but even in some of the smallest markets across the U.S.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, the phrase you just used, "being okay with being okay," is amazing. I also see that everything you said about Zillow and stuff, and they put the blinders on. It's like everybody wants to say, well, what happened? But we did it to ourselves by not having the thought process to see what could happen. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here with all this, John?
I think the real estate industry needs to overall give itself an assessment on the true value that they're bringing their clients. Anytime somebody promotes something about a purple bricks or some sort of a discount broker, you'll see it on Facebook all the time. Real estate agents, for the most part, and again, I'm not saying all, but I'm saying most, their immediate response is you get what you pay for. And I'm thinking that's completely not the case, because I pay a lot less purchasing items from Amazon, that I get them quicker. I have return policies in place, and overall I get better value. The
Right.
idea, the concept of you get what you pay for is no longer a valid argument. Any old school brokers or agents who are like, we've been here before, help you sell. It's not the same thing. They've never dealt with companies that have this type of market capitalization. And just to kind of give you an idea on this, and I think that this is something that anybody who's watching this should be really aware of. If you look at the most popular or the most valuable company in real estate right now that we can track, it's actually Zillow. The market capitalization of Zillow is about $5 billion. And then if you look at, well, who's below Zillow? You actually have Realogy, which has a market cap of about $4 billion. And Realogy is a real estate conglomerate with Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Garden, ERA. And I know, Dave, you are obviously very familiar with that. And so now we're at about $5 and $4 billion. So we have a total market valuation between the two biggest companies, just under 10 billion. And then if you add some of the other players, now you had Redfin, you have Remax, which are about $2 billion each. So now we're about 13 billion. And even if you take the latest public company of EXP, you're still under $15 billion. Just to put all things into perspective, most real estate or most investors didn't even want to pump money into this industry because they thought it was too small of a market. There wasn't that much money to be paid. Look, the biggest company is only worth 5 billion. But then you had this company that went on out and then they connected a property owner with a renter and they combined the two, eliminated the middleman, and that company is Airbnb, which today is noted to have a market valuation of over $30 billion.
Wow.
Airbnb is worth more than all of the real estate organizations that I just mentioned: Redfin, Remax, Realogy, which includes all those companies, and including Zillow as well, which is kind of a scary thought to think about for just a moment. Airbnb single-handedly, the success of that company is what got the attention of a lot of investors, and that's why so much money's been pumped in. So I think that, to answer your question, we need to take a step back and we need to put more responsibility on ourselves to say, what true value are we bringing our client? And at the same time, realizing that it's not what you pay. What you pay is not relevant to the value that you bring. I know real estate agents out there that are asking for a total of 3% to list a home, and I see their marketing, I see the photos that they're promoting online, and in my opinion, it's a 100% embarrassment to this industry. And most of these agents, they're not living under a rock. They know that they should be doing more, but again, they've been okay with being okay, and it's kind of been accepted to some degree in the industry. So I think that as long as the real estate community makes an effort to say, guys, look, if we want to protect our profession, then we need to be professionals. If we know, statistically speaking, that the number one reason as to why somebody's drawn to real estate in the first place is because of quality of photos, and damn it, we need to make sure that we're offering professional photos, because that real estate agent is representative of the industry overall. That's why you have so many consumers that are looking at realtors like, why in the hell would I pay you 3% on my $500,000 home? That's 15,000 bucks when I can hire this company down the street for 3,200 bucks flat. And they're going to offer professional photos, and they're going to offer Matterport services. Or I don't know if you've seen Redfin right now. I saw their promotion: list your home for 2%, staging included. Again, I say all of this, and for anybody on this watching this video who doesn't know me, I've been in this space for over 10 years, speaking at some
Yep.
of the most notable events in real estate,
Right.
some of the biggest events in real estate. And and I think that's the biggest challenge, is that our industry just really needs to step it up. And there's a certain leader in this market. As an example, he's out of the Orange County Association of Realtors, former president for YPN for the state of California, and he wants to make it a standard. You're a realtor, you need to offer professional photos. And I love that. I love that sense of passion behind wanting to improve our industry. But that's what I think we need to do: self-assessment, hold ourselves accountable, and then really start holding each other accountable, or at least encourage and let people know it's not okay to put a black eye in this industry. And again, the data's there. Nobody can argue it. If anybody wanted to argue the data with me, I'd be happy to take on that conversation, because I can show them in so many different ways how the simple aspect of promoting something like a video through social media, promoted targeted ads, and if they were, it's kind of one of these things that if you were to talk to a layman, somebody who's not familiar with real estate, and a realtor sometimes thinks, listen, if you have the property priced right, and if you upload it on the MLS, the home's going to sell. My thought is, tell that to a layman. Tell them, you know what, if all we need to do is price it right, your home's going to sell. We just need to upload it on the MLS. That's it. In comparison to somebody that goes on out there to say, listen, we have an opportunity to establish an emotional connection with a prospective buyer. Buyers are looking for real estate on their own. They're not relying upon a realtor like
That's
they
right.
once were. I mean, they're
Right.
taking more bathroom breaks while they're at work so they can get the latest updates on Zillow. So it's our job, our opportunity, to make sure that we're showcasing and highlighting your home in a way that's able to connect to that prospective buyer, so we can get their interest, so we can get them to respond, so we can get them to show up at the open house. And again, Dave, I don't know if you can tell, I tend to get passionate about this conversation because, unfortunately, I'll have people that will be in my audience, my class, 5 times, 5 years in a row,
Yeah, I've
still
seen it.
not doing anything.
I've been to a lot of your sessions, as you know, in the past 10 years since, we met a long time ago in Arizona at a Century 21 event. And, you brought up so many things that get my blood boiling, one is, the agent you talked about that wants to make professional photos a requirement. That all goes to so many things. That all goes to professionalism. It all goes, and honestly, to me, it goes a little bit to ethics too. Mm-hmm. I've been criticized in the past for speaking my mind about the current ethics situation in our industry, and there's some people that want to raise like dues and stuff to make it more difficult to be in our industry. And just to go off on that for a real quick second, I don't think that makes a lot of sense, simply because the National Association of Realtors and the local associations and the local MLSs have so much damn money that they don't know what to do with it. And, I'm going to stop there at that, because I just don't want to get into it. But the ethics is an issue. What we're doing as professionals is an issue. But you did touch on two things. People understand what Zillow is. You talked about that. But you mentioned also Purple Bricks and Redfin. Quickly explain for us, because a lot of us on the East Coast don't know a lot about Purple Bricks, to me it seemed to akin to Foxton's from a number of years ago. Just explain Purple Bricks real quick so people can have some context there.
Well, the United States is the only country that I know that pays realtors so handsomely. It's funny because I met an agent from Australia, and she told me, I want to move to the United States just because you guys are rich in comparison to what we make. I mean, we have to list a property, we have to find our own buyer, and if another agent brings us a buyer, we technically don't even have to pay him. If we want to be nice, we can pay them a little bit, but it's not very much at all. If you look at the United Kingdom, the amount of money that they pay a real estate agent, it's a fraction of the cost of what's paid in the US. So the US is paid very handsomely. The reason I say this is because Purple Bricks is a company that has already done work in Australia as well as New Zealand. They have a proven business model, which is to go to a seller and say, hey, listen, we'll sell your house for $3,200 flat rate. And with that, we're going to offer professional photos. We're going to offer the MLS service. You're going to be assigned a real estate agent. I mean, they actually have quite a few accomplishments to their name. And I feel like they set the tone as to the sense of professionalism that they're going to get. But I will say at the same time, because I saw somebody posting something the other day about trying to contact a Purple Bricks agent, and the Purple Bricks agent was not responsive. And man, realtors were like vultures jumping on that. That's what you get. Right. You get what you pay for. Well, I'll tell you, the other day I was driving, and I called 10 realtors. One realtor out of 10 actually answered their phone. So I didn't think that anybody was really in a position to make that argument, when again, that's an industry thing. It's not a Purple Bricks thing. But just doing my homework, some of the things that I found is that Purple Bricks will require the client to actually pay regardless of whether or not the home sells. And again, this is from what I was reading, what I found online, and just speaking to some of the people that are in the business that actually work with Purple Bricks. And so I don't know if any of this stuff ever changes. Things might change. So as of the last time that I checked, which was about maybe a month ago, again, that money had to be paid by the seller, which is now a risk that the seller has to assume. But if a realtor is not familiar with the model of Purple Bricks, how do they sell against that? Because if I'm talking to a seller, I'm like, listen, unfortunately, there are times where properties are put on the market, and if they don't have the right pricing, the right presentation, the right promotion, property may not sell. So if you are looking to work with this company, is this a risk that you're willing to take on yourself? And the other thing too is I don't think it's just about the risk, but I also think it's about the value proposition that a real estate agent can bring a seller, making sure that if they're speaking to a seller, offer true and legit value above and beyond professional photos, or I'm sorry, above and beyond photos, a CMA, and the MLS, because there are still agents that want a pat on the back because they get a home promoted on 100 websites or on 1,000 websites. And I cringe at the fact that some offices are out there still teaching realtors to sell in that capacity. It just blows my mind, because if I'm talking to a seller, I'll share with them, listen, here's how difficult it is to get your home promoted on 1,000 websites. It's as simple as this. All you do is click a mouse. Once the information is uploaded, you click a mouse. In fact, I'll even let them know it's not even anything necessarily that we're doing. It's big real estate organizations. But at the same time, it's like the CEO of CRMLS, one of the most influential people in real estate, who happens to be the CEO of one of the largest MLSs in the entire United States. He happens to be local. He's a great guy. He's been a leader in the industry. But in terms of syndication, it's a lot of what he's done. It's not necessarily what any real estate agent does. So I think the value proposition, you've got to offer true and legit value. And my correlation would be is like, Dave, you probably know I love going to Vegas. I go to Vegas probably more than what I should. But when I go to Vegas, if I'm going to stay at a nice hotel like at the Venetian or at the Wynn, then I'm going to pay more money than if I stayed at the Excalibur. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Excalibur at all. There's a market for that. Obviously, that place is booming. But at the same time, if the Excalibur tried to charge me just as much as the Wynn, there's a problem with that. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Real estate agents need to focus on the value that they're delivering in order to earn that money that they want.
True, so true. I mean, you look at price and value, and you also look at cost, and there's a lot of things that I think real estate agents and our industry are missing. And we always open ourselves up. Let me know if you believe in this or not. I think we always open ourselves up to that next disruptor. There's something out there. I mean, I don't think purple bricks is it just yet. I don't think there really is a disruptor out there. I mean, there's so much going on, and I firmly believe that what you're going to see in 6 months to 12 months is the change that you see in the next. Okay, let me start all over again. What you see in the next 6 to 12, 18 months is going to be what you saw in the last 10 years in terms of change in industry. I mean, look at bots, how big they are now, and all the other different things. You've hit so many darn topics. You talked about what's good, what's difficult, and honestly, I believe now, having owned a franchise for 21 years, I can go back 21 years, and it's the same old thing. I mean, you said you will call 10 agents and one will pick up the phone. You'll get a response from, you know what? Honestly, it's going to be less than 1 in 10 agents. It's just, but I don't know if it's raising prices. I don't know if it's raising qualifications. I'm not sure what it is. But I know that our industry is wide open for change and open for some type of disruptor to come in. But what is it? You mentioned the technology companies coming into real estate and the amount of money they've spent. The question is there one of those companies that's going to be the disruptor or the next big thing? I mean, we've had on this show, we've had the founder of a program called Cleared, which talks about validating information, open houses, and safety information. Pad Scouts working with other things, and we've had a lot of different things and come through here. I don't think those are little things that can have a great impact on the industry. But is there a disruptor out there that you see, John, that could have an impact bigger than we know today?
I think 100%. I don't think that disruptor's out there. I don't think that disruptor's known yet. There's like that old saying, beware of the sleeping giants. And that's why I said that if you have conversations with people in this industry, typically the conversation is Zillow wants to compete with us. Stop paying Zillow because they're going to put us out of business. And my thought is, why are you so focused on Zillow? Pay attention to everything else that is out there. Follow the money. The money is being, again, invested heavily. We've had, again, more money invested in the last 30 months than pretty much we've had in any one time period ever.
Right.
So I don't know if there are any companies just yet that are positioned in place that have made the significant change or has outlined the plan for me to say, yes, that's a disruptor right there. I think that we're going to see, this is just my prediction. I think we're going to see a lot of little companies that come on in, where now a lot of these little companies are now going to establish somewhat of the norm. And what I mean by establishing somewhat of the norm is that if you have 10, 15 companies that are out there that are spreading a message, then they're educating the market. And as the market becomes more educated, the market's going to ask more questions. And as the market asks more questions, that's where I feel that the real estate community is going to be more vulnerable. Because if I ask a real estate agent, and I do this all the time, and if any of you guys have ever been to any of my trainings, you know I do this. If I have an audience, I'll ask, okay, why should I list with you in comparison to the competition? The majority of the time, people can't articulate their answers. They can't answer it with a sense of justification. Most of the time I get agents that will look at me, that will smile, they might laugh, they might, other people in the audience do the same thing. So I don't know if there's any one established model just yet. I don't think it's Purple Bricks either. I think Purple Bricks will establish their market share for sure. I think they will make their money, but then there are going to be other companies that come on in. But I don't think that there's an Amazon in the industry just yet. But do I think they're lurking? 100%. I feel that part of the solution, again, for the real estate community is to truly focus on that value, because I will tell you guys, and hopefully people watch this video to the end. When I sit here, I don't want anybody to think it's like bashing our industry. but I will bash those who don't do their job as a professional. I don't think that they're then a
I agree.
professional. And I also believe firmly they have a fiduciary duty to their client. I do have real estate agents that are worth every dollar and more. They're the ones that are able to justify their value to their clients. They're the ones, because of their aggressive marketing, they're getting more buyers at their open house. With more buyers comes more offers. With more offers comes true negotiation leverage. And they're pretty much able to justify the amount of money that they want to earn from their deals and their transactions. But I will close with this, Dave. And if there's any other questions you have for me, of course,
Sure.
let me know. But if you look at how valuable some of the biggest companies in these industries are, like if you look at Google, or if you look at Apple, or if you look at Amazon, I mean, Amazon and Apple are $1 trillion companies. You know, you have Google that's an $800 billion giant. I told you the most valuable company in real estate is at 5 billion. Talking about a company that's nearly worth $1 trillion. They have all the money in the world to do whatever the hell they want, to put it wherever the heck they want, in order for them to establish that disruptor. Do I think it's coming? 100%. Do I think it's around the corner that's going to hit us tomorrow? No. But do I feel that the cold symptoms are already here? It's like when you get the flu. You know, they tell you when you get the flu, you don't feel the effects until about 3 days after you have it into your system. I think we have it in our system. Now it's just a matter of when are those feelings going to start permeating. But I think we could do what we can in order to fend them off and fight them. But if the industry doesn't evolve, we're going to have issues. I put responsibility on the companies. The biggest companies out there that are taking franchise fees, in my opinion, they have a responsibility to make sure that they're educating their brokers, educating their agents. The National Association of Realtors, I firmly believe they have a responsibility. They have a membership organization that's paying them each and every year. They need to make sure that they're paying attention, following the money, and educating real estate agents. And the state associations, same thing. Local boards, 100%, same thing. Brokers, if you're going to take money from an agent, make sure that your head's not in the sand. And as real estate agents, if you're going to be taking money from a consumer, make sure that your head's not in the sand. So I think that what I just went through, Dave, is there's a responsibility amongst everybody, not just one group, but amongst everybody, for them to be able to identify what needs to be done and make the changes.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree with you more with everything you said, in as much the last part than anything else. I mean, I truly believe that I don't know where most responsibility goes to. I think, look, I'm not a big lover of the politics or the word or any of for new agents coming in rather than, here it is, go ahead. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, when I first got my license, and I'll tell everybody when it was 1976, just a couple of years ago. I was two. But my first job as a real estate agent, it was the same thing. It was, here it is, there's the phone, answer it if it rings. However, the difference was that I learned from the two people that own this company that they had a lot of friends in their previous businesses. So I did get that you had to work with people and go on that. But one of the things that we're not doing in this industry, in my opinion, is we're not being responsible as broker owners, as managers, and all the way from the bottom to the top in actually training and coaching the agents to know, A, how to be professional, and B, how to have more value than the other guys. So look, I don't know if you believe in this or not, but I believe in you don't necessarily have to be better, but I think being different has a lot of value. And honestly, you've been teaching it for years that I know. You've been talking about video for years. And to me, it's still different, right? So, you look at that and you look at aggressive marketing as being different and price versus value. It's all there. I believe, one of the things I'm working on is a new program, and it all talks about it's all about the art of differentiation. And I'm trying to bring that to the forefront. And that's going to come out in sometime in October. Selfless plug for me, yes. But it's just, it's everything there. There's changes, there's technology. Technology is never going to stop. I get overwhelmed with different apps and different things coming out. But then again, the same old stuff still works really darn well. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you have any other thoughts you want to bring forward what I just said, or that's about
Yeah,
it.
I will just make one last thought. When you said you don't know whose responsibility it is, at the end of the day, licensed real estate agents are independent contractors. They're independent.
True.
So although I do believe it starts at the top, if the top doesn't, and when I'm talking about the top, I'm talking about from the state associations, NAR, if they don't do their part, well, then there's going to be problems, right, for them. If the companies, the big real estate organizations don't do their part, well, then there's going to be problems. People are going to flee from the company. If the brokers don't do their part, well, then people are going to leave their company. If they can't justify the money that they're taking, they're going to bounce out. But I firmly believe at the end of the day, it does fall on the individual real estate agent. They need to get out of their way to read, to follow the market, to see what's going on. They can't live under a rock because anybody who takes money from somebody, I think it's accepting that responsibility. And you have real estate agents that at the end of the day, they're taking money from their client or they're taking money from somebody. And when I first started in the loan business, I started off as a loan officer in 2003. My training was, okay, there's the phone. Here's a list. Call people. I'm like, okay, call them for what? Call them and take an application. I said, what's an application? And this is no joke. This is not an exaggeration. And then my manager said, call them and get their social security number. Like, what the? Why would I get their social security number? I didn't even know what a flipping credit report was. And I realized at that immediate moment, this is the type of training that I'm going to get. How successful am I going to be with this? So I actually went that very next day and bought the Mortgages for Dummies book and read it. And I remember when I first read about a mortgage, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm like enlightened. I had no idea what I was even doing or signing up for. It was just a job that I got the day that I graduated college. The day I graduated college, the next day I started in the loan world. And that's really kind of what established me
Right.
to do what I'm doing today. But again, it was that training, subpar training, and management was okay with it. I'm sure her regional was okay with it as well. But I'm like, you know what? If we're in an eat what you kill type business, then I better make sure that I'm sharpening my skills. Today, I have a class here. It's from 9:30 to 1:30 at my office. And it's a paid class. Real estate agents signed up and they pay $400 for this class, $395. But that's one of those things. It's real estate agents assuming that responsibility to get out of the way and figure, hey, nobody else is going to feed me and my family. I'll make sure that I'm doing what I need to do so that way I can maintain my sense of independence. And as the market changes, if other people fall off, which I do think that we'll have one of the biggest drop-offs of real estate agents that we've ever seen in the next 24 to 36 months, probably more so 24 months, just because I think a lot of people aren't even going to be able to afford their dues with all this money that's being pumped in, and then the market share not being what it once was, repeat and referral business somewhat going by the wayside, because if you solely rely on your repeats and your referrals, they're going to be bombarded with more advertisements, more companies wanting their services, more agents, and again, more educating the market. I think Purple Bricks, from what I previously read, they were spending $2 million. I don't know if they still are, $2 million per month in order to establish market share in the California market. So when the Dodgers won the World Series, if you were watching the game in the SoCal market, you saw their commercials being pumped over and over and over. And I was like, it's brilliant, smart marketing. They know everybody's flipping watching the Dodgers. I'm not even a baseball fan, and I was watching the Dodgers as an example.
Well, we saw it. We saw Purple Bricks being advertised, I believe, the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby and some other stuff like that as well. And I'm sure you're going to see it on some NFL broadcasts coming up. So, John, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I know you're really busy, and I know you got this class coming up, and it's 8:30 your time out there now. And thanks so much. I mean, we've been good friends for a long time, and you have to tell Matt he's next. We need to get him on in a month or so. How do people contact you if they want more information about what you do and how you do it, and can they contact you, and can you help other people?
Yeah, absolutely. Right in the chat box, I'll put the tag for our Facebook page so that way they can connect with us directly through there. I'll put my website as well. Make it super simple and easy.
Well, that's great. I mean, I don't know if you have any questions for me, but I've got I got a lot of exciting things going on. I'm sure you do, and this is just one of the things that I've decided I want to do is do this broadcast every week. I got a good friend of mine, Chris Patelli, who's been doing his Mortgage Mondays for 57 weeks or whatever. I got a long ways to catch up to him, but he's never missed a day. So
Wow.
I'm going to do that, and I just hope this helps out real estate agents with just some enlightenments from time to time. So, John, again, thanks so much for being on. hopefully we can connect in person soon.
For sure, Dave. Thank you very much.
Great, man. Hang on there.